All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday. I am your host for this live stream tonight, April O'Neil. Let me just make sure my mic is on correctly on the stand. This took a little bit of a hot moment for me to get appropriately set up tonight. So I am OG April O'Neil, reporting live, Channel 6 News, the Cosmic News. It is Monday night. We're going to do a little bit of Astro, but we're also going to revisit The Last Ronin. Oh, hey, Voice of One. I feel like I haven't seen you in a little while, my brother. Let me mirror this. I have been doing a lot of creating lately, a lot of writing, and so, oh my goodness. I'm glad I mirrored this earlier rather than later. Let me just update this. Okay. So tonight, it's been a minute. Oh yeah, I feel like a lot of busy, all of you light workers out there. I see you. I feel you out there in the cosmos. A lot of new stuff being built. I know that you're in a band too, Voice of One, right? So making music, making creations. So let me actually put on some background music. Been healing from my own injuries myself. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I gotta, make sure to stretch before I do certain movements. We went to the gym today, and we did back. So I actually am launching, shameless plug to begin this live read. So what we're gonna do today, I'm April O'Neil. I'm also Rachel Z, but I read comic books live stream. But today I wanted this to be a little bit of like a special show because April O'Neil is a news anchor in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe, right? So each of these stories, I was reading some of this actually to my husband before I got onto. I was crying actually reading this. So I'm not going to actually, at 50, it's all downhill from here. You're just getting started, baby. Voice of One. You're halfway to 100. So lots of legs still left to go, especially in you ancient souls. And I wanted to use today, we're going to talk a little bit about a relationship to time. I actually have a I'm hearing a... Is that me? It is me. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, my Green Lantern Corps music is playing. Where did am I still plugged in, my headphones? Oh my gosh, I have multiple laptops, I have multiple computers, so bear with me as I get some music on play. I'm going to play some old 90s. Some old early 90s kind of stuff. Oh no, I'll just play my own 80s synthwave stuff. It's a workout mix. Everything I do revolves around working out. Okay. Dun, dun. Aw, thank you. Okay, so welcome to Monday night, my friends. I am your host for tonight. I am April O'Neil, Channel 6 News, and I wanted to give you guys some perspective on, we're going to do some reading about The Last Ronin, but I wanted to talk to you guys about stories from your childhood and inner child healing and what that all kind of looks like. And I'm going to share actually a personal story. Let me turn this down. 80s is actually a perfect background track to start with. Oh, bonjour, Dan. Hello. Okay, so welcome, class. Welcome to Monday night. I'm finally getting my schedule worked out. I had to do a lot of actually just sitting down and writing things out and planning things out. So shameless plug before we begin. I have a newsletter campaign, or you can join my newsletter that's specifically about my cosplay and comic books and all of that kind of stuff. I typically, all of my stuff before this has been behind like Golden Sugar, which is like my video editing and all of that kind of stuff. So I've been doing a lot of work lately just about like dissecting all the different versions of myself. So like if you're a creative person, right? Like let's say you're a writer and you draw and you also do like digital art and you also like dance. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, how do those things all go together? Will I be at Anime Expo next month? Hopefully I'm gonna get my cosplay schedule. I'm working on some collaborations with other cosplayers in Toronto now that I've kind of like been like, oh, I'm a cosplayer. You know what I mean? I didn't think that I like deserved to be called that, you know? So I was like, oh, so there's a few ladies that I'm going to work with. Also, like I do photography myself. So I'm just trying to put some stuff together. Oh, Super Mario, I would love that. Yes, Geek. I would love to take interviews. And I just got some full body tingles when you said that. So thank you guys. Oh my goodness, so first of all, I'm launching a 7-day course. It's going to start on Saturday and it runs bi-weekly. Okay, so what this course is, I'm gonna have a special for some of you guys. You can just reach out to me if like money's a problem. This is not about that. This is about more like giving you guys educational stuff because I've been telling you guys so many times. Hold on, let me fix my, oh my gosh, my little outfit. Let me just make sure that I don't want any, there we go. Perfect. So, where was I? Yes. Oh, hi, Lena. Okay. Let's get right into what I'm talking about tonight. I have actually read you guys The Last Ronin before, but April O'Neil is very special to me because I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I first moved out to Toronto out in like 2007, 2008, and I have to credit April O'Neil for a big reason why I came out to Toronto, because I wanted to be an investigative journalist, right, and get to the truth, because at the end of the day, I'm going to read you guys some stuff from The Last Ronin, is this idea of when you were like a child, your inner child always exists, right? There's this concept of, I'm going to share with you guys a story. So I had a very traumatic childhood. It's why I gravitated towards a lot of fantasy, why I gamed a lot, why I like fell into comic books, just because real life was so awful that I needed to escape into the imagination realm, right? Whatever that looked like. And so I credit, there's a really nice afterword here by Kevin Eastman where he talks about like, what does it mean to give characters you create or a story you begin an ending, right? And I will say that as someone who writes, as someone who like does projects, that it's hard to come up with an ending, right? If you've ever, like short stories I kind of like, right? Because I like leaving things on a cliffhanger. If you want to read any of my short stories, I have them on Readsy. I have a few of them that are based in my universe, but regardless, like short stories, it can be like the snippet, and you can have, but I love comic books too, right? You can have just one comic book, one piece of the story, one part that is a self-encapsulated story, and then, you know, that story can be part of a bigger story, but you can still just know what's going on based on like where you drop in, kind of like a dream, like, or let's say a show, you haven't watched the first 2 seasons and then you get into the latest season and you're like, oh, okay, here we go. So anyways, I didn't want to have this live be super dark. So I was like, oh, I was going to read some of The Last Ronin, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this live with that. What I'm going to talk to you guys about is this power of storytelling and this idea of broadcast journalism and what that means in terms of our relationship to time, right? So I really do have to credit my dad for conversations I had with him as a kid, because he never responded to me like I was a kid. He always responded to me with very much just like, oh, you're like a little person. So I was having a conversation with my dad, which came back to me in a memory when I was 7. But let's bring this back to inner child healing. I had a traumatic childhood growing up. It's one of those things where, as I said, you gravitate to your imagination world. But then as you grow up, right, adult you comes up. The inner child part of you never really goes away, right? So if time is always happening and we're always in the ebb and flow of time, you at 8 years old always exists, right? Oh, Timmy, perfect timing. It's like you at 8 years old heard me say something. Like, Voice of One, like, I feel like I have a Cable comic book I was planning on reading as Jean Grey reading Cable. And I pre-read it, and I was like tripping balls about it because Cable's got some ties to northern Canada. So the X-Men have a lot to do with Canada mythology. I'm going to get into that another time as Jean. This is April O'Neil, and the reason why I bring this up is because April and the Turtles deal with New York City. And New York City is, when we think of cities, when we think of Atlantis, for example, ancient Atlantis, the way I look at it is that it's like the archetype of a city, right? So this idea of all these different cultures, all these different flavors. And when I was a prairie girl growing up in Winnipeg, I had big city dreams. I dreamt about coming out to the big city and just was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go up to like Much Music and I'm going to audition for Electric Circus. And I don't want to grow up a Toys R Us kid, 100%. And we had good toys back then too, didn't we? Ninja Turtles being one of them, right? And kids back then, when you played, you would play the like things you saw on TV, right? And you would get to pick a character to play, that kind of stuff, right? So for me, I did have a lot of guy friends growing up, so I got to play April O'Neil because you got to go on adventures with everybody. And I mean, I know in the cartoon she had to get rescued a lot, but at the end of the day, if you read comic books with the Turtles, April's like clutch, right? She knows, like, she'll get you out from that other dimension. Her and Casey are on the case because in the end, this is your chosen family, right? Like when things hit the fan, ish hits the fan, you end up with people in your life who you maybe aren't related by blood, but, you know, on some other level, you may know each other, right? I was into the Spider-Man comics. I love the Spider-Man animated show in the early 90s. So I was born 1985, so I grew up with like YTV is kind of like my thing. I don't know, 80s had better toys. You know what though, Voice of One, the thing is too, like She-Ra and He-Man, I can't tell you how much I love She-Ra so much. Like and you know what, that whole cartoon series was created to support the toy sales, right? So it's like this idea how creation works. And if we think of like statues, right? What are those other than just like really large toys made of expensive material? Because, this is a good way to talk about some turtles. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Greek myth too. And what I wanted to talk about New York City. Let's go there. Let's start there. I wanted to go on a tangent. I was giving myself some notes because I want these lives to be a bit more of like a story in themselves, because as I tell you guys, you are the magic in the story. You are the magic in the character. So April O'Neil has been played by a few ladies for live action, right? I think the Turtles' first movie, like the live I love the 80s one, like Vanilla Ice. Go Ninja, go. Let me find that song for later and I will figure out a dance for it. But anyways, like Megan Fox also played April O'Neil, but it's also this idea of like my favorite April O'Neil was from the cartoon version where she's like in this very jumpsuit, if you guys can see this very jumpsuit, you know, on the case with her like big camcorder taking down the stories. But the big thing about these journalists, right, because even Lois Lane and Superman's alter ego, right, when he's not being Superman, is a news reporter. I'm just gonna hold onto my mic. I'm gonna start my flash goal. All right, let's start the flash goal. pin that. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about stories about New York City. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about also, I am throwing, compared to G.I. Joe or Star Wars. You know what though? It's almost like every decade up until very recently had a very distinct personality, right? Like I was watching an Electric Circus episode, like an old episode that was on YouTube where they had like an 80s night, but it was like in the 90s. I think it was the 90s, right? So you were already like talking about the 80s with a very distinct flavor and you were already like in the 90s. But if you were to take that same increment of time and take it from like now and go back, like there's not a very like what would you call the music of our generation right now, right? We have so much like streaming itself. I wanted to be on Electric Circus, so I'm creating my own Electric Circus. I'm not calling it Electric Circus, but it's kind of like Electric Circus for live stream, right? The new broadcast medium. And I'm calling it the Cosmic Room. And I'm getting dancers, I'm running auditions this summer. So this Sunday, June 22nd, we're going to go to Sunnyside Boardwalk. I'm throwing a free dance class. We're going to recreate one of the dances from Step Up, the first movie. So let me bring it back to New York City. I'm going to show you guys something from the Last Ronin. It's a good jump off point into that. This is a spoiler alert. Because let's see here. If you watch Robotech compared to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you see how they dumbed down cartoons, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Show compared to original comic mass marketing. Well, you know what? It's Star Wars had that issue too, right? Also, like certain things that I don't think were necessarily meant for kids, and then they tried to like, well, how can we sell merch? How can we sell something to get the most out of the property? And that's where we're also in a situation where nothing ever gets created net new. We just do the next version of it. We do the next reboot of it. We do the reimagining of it. We do, we're going to take this director and do the same story 800 million times. And even though it's a beloved story, just like different myth, there's also this idea of, I love the Turtles just because the creator of the Turtles, he talks about, the Turtles were created in the 80s in a basement where you literally are storyboarding and this is why I love D&D too, right? This idea of the characters in the story, how they're developed. It's the story naturally comes, right? It's when I write anything creatively, I've only realized now that I'm probably channeling, right? Because it just kind of just comes, and I do my best writing at 3 a.m. And many of you guys are probably in my book as well. You just don't know it yet. And realize that you are also in the great quantum library of everything, a really wonderful book. Healthy Key. Oh, Batman, can you give me 10 minutes to battle? I want to get certain things done, and then I will. I need to do some housekeeping first, and I went off on a complete tangent, and I wanted to talk about New York City and the relationship to that and special places and ley lines and energy centers on Earth and all that kind of stuff. So hands up, voice of one, were you born in Canada? I feel like there's something to be said about this land in terms of how magical it is. And turtles, right? Turtles and the idea of Turtle Island. Oh, PEI. Oh, you're also an island boy then too. I think there's something special about being on islands as well. I need to grab my R2D2 cup. I made a little extra beverage before I started, and then I didn't even use it. So yes, the ley lines and energy centers. So April also coincides with a month. And last time I was April O'Neil, I was talking about meanings of names. What I wanted to talk about today is magical places. So Marvel versus DC, what I've noticed is that Marvel takes place in our world, right? So you have like New York City, like Peter Parker and Spider-Man. You are in New York, right? Versus Batman and like the Bat family, you're in Gotham, you have Metropolis. There's like, hey Pikachu, welcome to the live. Oh, thank you for sharing. Oh yes, and it's been a little while since I've been trying to change the format of this, so I'm like talking to you guys, and we are actually going to be talking about a comic book, and I'm going to read you a comic book in just a minute, but I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about magical places. Question to you guys: have you ever visited a place and like you had a remembrance of being there before, but you had never been there before, right? Or these, or deja vu in general, right? Where because like, what's the difference between place and time, and time, space, and dimensions? And I realized I didn't talk to you guys about my conversation I had with my dad about the 10 dimensions of mathematics. That's coming up soon, but that's not exactly spicy entertainment material. So instead, let's talk about New York City. So on Sunday, mark your calendars. I'm doing this in real life, but I'm hopefully going to live stream it as well so you guys can learn the routine. I'm recreating a scene from oh my gosh, you can totally hear the city right here in Toronto. No deja vu for me, but I always found some nexus points in my area. Absolutely. Yeah, or like just points where you feel, I don't know, like if a certain story scene was going to happen, you'd be like, oh, this is the place where it's going to happen. Like, this is where it all comes together. This is where a timeline converges or something like that. Me and my friend Rachel in Winnipeg, there's this park called St. Vital Park. It has a beautiful pond. You can go like skating on it and stuff. I remember we had like a bike-a-thon because our school every June had this like bike-a-thon where you like earned money for charity by doing a bunch of loops around this like circle. But anyways, in this park, me and my friend Rachel made up this idea. We're like, is this the Garden of Eden? Have we found a hidden garden? But you know, we just made it up. But like, for all we know, that could have been true. Like, what are gardens versus the wild as well? That's a whole separate discussion. But I'm bringing this back to locations and places, like places that we set stories, right? Like when we think about staging in theater, right? When I was taking drama in high school, we actually had a part where we had to make the sets, because there's such beautiful stuff about even like theater magic, right? Like how you do the makeup, and you have people who are also playing, let's say, multiple roles, because you never have a scene where those characters are the same. So if you think about that even in your own life, like if life is but a play and this is a stage and you are playing a certain role, you're a main character in your stage, but you are also playing a certain role in other people's, including creating the environment, like being an extra, right? Me and my hubby actually, we did quite a few like modeling and like acting gigs together being in Toronto. I did it more like just for fun because I never took myself seriously in that. I never, like I told you guys, like I had friends of mine who dreamed of being famous actresses or singers or dancers or being on Broadway, but I never felt like I had a right to those dreams. Like I had like Asian mom, my dad was a professor, you had to be a nurse or like a doctor, or you had to be a lawyer, or you had to be something like, but I'm like, but what if I am a performance artist? That's not gonna fly. Like I would have been very happy working at Disney as like a Disney princess and like pretending to be like, I love how kids look at you in like this very real way. And I've had full on conversations with kids that were very like they know what's up, right? It's just that because think of yourself at 8 years old and bringing this back to inner child healing. Oh, yes. Ancient ley lines. So I think that also, too, it's up to us to create some new maps, some new etheric maps. Let's put it that way. Because my new role-playing game, like a big part of D&D, a big part of creating the game is the map, right? And my little sister, we're going to be playing Borderlands 3 together. We got to finish off a DLC that we started and haven't finished yet. But she has this thing. She's like, Rachel doesn't read maps. I'm like, no, I have you. You're my navigator. but it's one of those things, right? Like, through my own learning of self, you realize like parts about you, like, oh, I need to like realize my own maps. And relating this back to astrology, I look at astrology as basically a language. It's like a legend by which you're able to look at a map, right? So we shouldn't get so caught up with like whether the moon is made up of cheese, it's a satellite, whichever. For us to look at it more of like, well, this is a marker, and it's a way of us to mark time so that I know to be on stage at the appropriate time and say my line, right? That I myself wrote for myself, but I just need to know when to say it. But all those, it's like what I told you, it's this meta way of being both the creator and the actor in your own universal play, right? When I was in drama, creating set pieces, you also, it was really cool, actually. I'm really blessed to have that background, but what I learned in theater is stuff that also mirrors real life, because when I took broadcast journalism, when I first moved out to Toronto, I took it at York University. I did like this summer institute of broadcast journalism. We had like a really nice video camera. We had to learn how to like video edit really, really quickly, be real. And back then, the way they taught journalism was that hey Keaton, how's it going? And I don't know if any of you guys have had journalism training or anything along those lines, but I don't know what school teaches these days. But back then, the way they taught journalism was that you, as like the journalist, me presenting you the story, you shouldn't really know what my opinion is on it. I am going to present to you both sides of the story. I'm going to get an interview that represent, let's say, both sides of a story, and then I'm going to let you, my viewer, as a very intelligent audience, take the facts that I've presented, that I've uncovered, that I've done the due diligence of like digging through and like getting the footage, and then presenting to you so that the public and the people can know the truth and then act accordingly. It's why they say journalism, like journalists are there to hold governments accountable, right? It's like, the hidden story of like, I'm going to get to the truth. And then that's like amnesties for people who go out into these different parts of the world to get the real story of what's going on down there on the ground, right? So that's really what I wanted to do. But when I started to take schooling in it, I realized this very nefarious relationship between journalists and public relations people. So it was a crazy thing. Like I also realized like how much of like the weather is super just a show. And even if we think about how like weather can just change and how, like weather modification, all that stuff is a very real possibility, but we choose not to think that we are capable of it. And it's just like, okay, but if we don't even if we can't even conceive of that being possible, that's of course how they're going to use that to control us, right? So instead of us being able to just have those thought experiments with each other and be like, hey, what if? And like, that's how the Ninja Turtles were created, right? Like you have like friends getting together really high, having conversations about trippy shit. And you're just like, oh, how funny would it be if like really slow animals like turtles were ninjas, having to be covert and quick like that. And you put that together and you make a story, you make personalities, and then there you go. So, oh, Timmy, thank you for that. So I welcome you guys, whatever your creative avenue is, this is the time. There is such activation to be had right now. So on Saturday, shameless plug before I start the read, on Saturday, what is that, June something. Regardless, I'm going to be doing a 7-day course. It's a 7-day energy chakra alignment journey. So it runs for 7 days, and every day you get a dance routine, a song that's supposed to activate your particular chakra. And we start at the root on Saturday and then we go up. But that's not the only way you can go through your chakras. It's more about education of that. And so different stretching exercises, also nutrition, right? So different supplements you can take to help with each chakra, so that, because I really do think really part of activating your superpowers would come from you just getting your body in check. We truly do have such a beautiful technology at our hands, right? This organic tech, this is the state of the art body. I've waited very many lifetimes for the opportunity to live a life in this body. And so is this ninja training? Yes. So the biggest learning I have found in terms of even telling stories from a journalistic perspective, and I'm going to get into New York City in just a second, is that when I first moved here to Toronto, remember I was from Winnipeg, and what they taught us too is about really what journalism is about storytelling. And instead of us telling stories about something fantastical, right, something imaginative, I'm instead informing you about reality, right? Or at least this consensus reality that we're all agreeing on, right? Oh, thanks, Ace. I'm April O'Neil, Channel 6 News, friend to the Turtles. And I'm hoping you guys realize that whatever you resonate with, so there's going to be people who don't care about the Ninja Turtles. And that's cool too, right? Because there's so many people in this world. And so that way, when you have people who love the same things that you really do love too, there's a beautiful way of you being able to identify each other, right? It's like a cipher or a code that we left for ourselves as to where to find the others who also love weird, nerdy things like you. Right? There's certain things me and my hubby, we bring up that we loved when we were kids. And I'm I didn't think anyone else liked that. I don't know if you guys remember that cartoon show Mummies Alive with mummies who were ancient protectors of this kid from Egypt, and then gargoyles as well. There was another cartoon show, but they put a lot of effort in a lot of those shows, right? And a lot of the episodes themselves, you can watch them now on YouTube. I've gone back and watched them. I'm you know what? Some of these stories, and they have good messages in them, right? Share and what it means to make hard decisions, right? I loved watching the Ninja Turtles, right? And whoever your favorite turtle was too, you could see the dynamics of how the turtles are with each other. And it's learning about relationships and as you're a kid and dealing with friend stuff. And, these are all different dynamics you as a child that I can see growing up and working in the corporate world. A lot of people didn't work stuff out when they were a kid with stuff like that, but how to share, what to do when let's say the teacher picks someone else over you and you feel jealous about it, right? What do? Do you work on it, or you just stew and well, I guess that's not for me, right? But all of these are just lessons for you as an individual who's living your life. You can take them or you cannot, right? And so for me, the Turtles really reached out to me because I would say if I were to have a character sheet, and I have this in all my D&D characters as well, as I know how to keep a secret. And I think that's a big shadow of a lot of women, my mom included, certain cultures, right? This idea of gossip, right? And gossip based on untruths, right? And just, a story was just made up and it can ruin a reputation, right? And there's many horror movies, many horror things where the girl in high school that someone was told this awful story about her doing something, and then it's not even a real story, but her reputation is shattered. And I've had actually many friends that's happened to, and no one prepares you for the psychological damage that a rumor gone wrong will do to you, right? And there's no cure for that, right? It's just a matter of people just knowing when to keep their fucking mouth shut. But like, I would be that person who's like, just don't say anything. If someone's trusting you with a secret, and if you don't feel like you can hold the secret, tell them. Like, don't, like, I've said that before. I'm like, don't tell me. Or sometimes I don't want to know. Like, I'm okay with not knowing things. I know some people are so nosy and want to know everything about everything, but I'm like literally okay with not knowing certain things. Like, I've had girlfriends be like, oh my gosh, can I tell you a secret? I'm like, please don't. I don't, please don't, unless you really, really need to, right? So, April, yes, morals, things don't teach today in cartoons. And yeah, unfortunately, bring me back the wholesome cartoons that like teach you lessons at the end. You're like, remember, guys. He-Man, Thundercats. You know what? I wasn't big on Thundercats, but I would go back and rewatch again. I had a comic book of She-Ra and He-Man's, was it? I keep on calling it the Sword and the Stone, but I think that's a King Arthur thing. But just the story about how like She-Ra was evil, and then He-Man goes and gets her, and like, anyways, like I resonate with that because I have gone through my own redemption arc of behaving like probably not the best kind of girlfriend, and I'm live again. Yeah. And I'm bringing back some April vibes. So I'm going to tell you guys some stories of New York City, because that was my big tangent to come back around to this. So as I said to you guys before, Marvel is in New York City. The Turtles are in New York City, which is in contrast to like DC, where they have, I guess, more mythical places, right? Gotham, Arkham is not a real place, but it's more of an archetype of a city. Like I look at Gotham as like Sin City vibes, like Frank Miller's Sin City, like this idea of like, oh, the dark city, what's there? Like even Batgirl has said, you know, I feel like sometimes we're at war with the city itself. But Arkham and Gotham, I think, have some stuff with like haunted stuff, and we can get into like that with like The Shining. And you know, I feel like Toronto is built on some like burial grounds we shouldn't be built on as well. That's something to talk about, like ghost stories when it comes to that. Countdown is on for your book. Will you sign my... Yeah! Oh my gosh, Flurry, you're so great. So Solstice is going to be the big day. I'm going to be on Sunnyside Boardwalk. I'm going to teach you guys a step up dance till the dawn. Oh my gosh. I was trying to relate all of this together. There's a way of all of this segueing together. I realized too, like, you know, going through your mind and you like just following an idea and then like where it goes, which is why I love conversations with smart people. I can't wait to have conversations with some of you guys in real life and solve the world's problems. Wolverine camped in North Alberta. Oh yeah. Well, Wolverine's from there too, Dust, right? Okay, so let me go back to what I wanted to tell you guys tonight. So April O'Neil, I already told you how she's so beloved to me because she's a big inspiration behind why I wanted to become a broadcast journalist. I moved out to Toronto, and I went to school for broadcast journalism. While I was in school for broadcast journalism, I was a personal trainer. So that's where I met my husband. I was a personal trainer, and I actually competed in fitness. I went to Vegas and competed in the Flex Bikini model search. I placed like top 10. I was like Miss Hawaiian Tropic. I did a few beauty competitions and stuff, but literally I did all of that just because it was like fun for me. I did it just because like I made a lot of friends along the way and like did modeling shoots and all that kind of stuff. So me and my hubby, we still do that, and we're trying to put together more of like I'm calling it Wild Heart Films, so that we can help you guys bring some of your ideas to life, as well as like I have all that beauty background. Like I know how to make things look good. So it's I was like stuck in corporate for a while. But anyway, so I moved out here. I got really disillusioned when I was in school for broadcast journalism. I was like, I don't really know how I'm going to make money off of this. That literally was my thought, right? The way it was kind of put. Like they were making it seem like for me to be a journalist here, I'd have to go to like northern Canada work a beat out there, you know, like work for some like small radio station. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't be opposed to that these days. Like, I would love to be a radio DJ on like, these are your top 10 love songs of 2025, baby. Or like, you know, like nighttime radio, like all the different songs you want to introduce people to. So anyways, I got disillusioned. I went to school instead for corporate communication because I was like, okay, that's another way of me using some of the skills that I got in journalism for the evil side. And then that was my whole foray into becoming a digital project manager and working for the dark side. Now, I've come back all the way around to realize what I really want to do with my life is tell stories. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I'll just make my own film studio. I'll just use all the skills I used for that and just reformat it. Bringing this back to New York City. Before I moved to Toronto, I went out to New York City and I stayed with my best friend Rachel and my bestie Jen in Harlem, New York City for about a month. What summer was this? 2006? I think it was 2006. Yeah. The summer of 2006, I was in New York City. There was a heat wave in August. It was freaking amazing. And so I watched Step Up. Yes, I think Step Up came out in 2006 or so, but I'll rework the dates because, oh my gosh, time, when you're trying to look back in time, you're like, when was that? And I have to like reconfirm with my friends, like, when was that? So I saw Step Up, the first movie with Channing Tatum and New York City in Times Square in a beautiful theater. And then we took the subway home to Harlem. It was awesome because my friends and I are all dancers, and it was an awesome dance movie. Even Darth Vader came around to the light side. Yeah, because let's actually talk about that for a second, right? Because there's a prophecy involved with that, right? And my hubby loves Star Wars. I was telling him, I have a Star Wars book where I don't have it with me right now, but I'll show you guys later. We have a Star Wars trivia booklet, and we want to have a live where we do Star Wars trivia night. I'm just trying to figure out what we would give you guys for prizes and stuff. So we can have like Star Wars trivia, and then I'll have like a screen behind me, and I've got to figure out how I would do that live with you guys and how I can actually give you guys gifts and how the gifts can correspond to like stuff on the leaderboard. But anyways, I'll figure it out. Bringing us around in New York City. So I got to see Step Up in New York City. And so New York City itself, when I was there, I got to live the life of like, I'm a dancer, because my bestie was actually going to Juilliard at the time in New York. And my other friend, Jennifer, well, there's some drama there, but anyways, we all stayed in this house in Harlem with her other friends who are all dancers, and it was like always super hot all the time. So all of us were always like, it was like that movie where like all the dancers in their hot bodies are just sweating all around like the house. But yeah, trivia time. I love trivia, right? And as I said, little prizes. I'm gonna figure out a way to like how we can kind of do that. And of course, like you need to have like a leaderboard. I need to make it a little bit more like fancy, and then I can have you guys as guests, and we can do like, I can moderate perhaps like a trivia thing, you know, like Family Feud, except it's like Star Wars trivia. I'll think of something, a way, like there's a way. So game design, all of that, we can save that for another live. So I don't know if you guys have any stories of major cities, right? So New York City as a stage, as a setting. Alicia Keys, like New York. Actually, I'm going to play that because I fell in love with New York. So I had this idea in my head that Toronto would be a lot like New York. And it wasn't. And it was in a weird way, right? Toronto's got its own flavor. And I feel like in it being so uncomfortable with having its own identity and looking to other places, like trying to be like Vegas or trying to be like New York or trying to be like whatever, it's like forgotten that it was just unique being good old Toronto, right? Have I ever been to London, England? No, not yet, Ace. Not yet. Places I have been. Actually, you guys tell me where you guys have been. So my dad is South African. My mom is Filipino. So I visited the Philippines when I was about 3. I had a near-death experience there. That's a whole story for another time. Um, my mom was born in the Visayas Islands, so that's like where we go visit. I also have family in Australia. I was in Australia when I was like a year old or so. And then when I got older, I've actually gone on road trips through a lot of like Western Canada. So like road tripped from like Vancouver, driven all the way to Toronto. I've only gone to Montreal in terms of that area. I've gone to Vegas a couple times. I got married in Mexico, Cozumel, Mexico. I went to South Africa on a work trip. I flew through Atlanta, and that was fun because they thought I was some sort of famous rapper chick. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm here for work. Winnipeg, BC, and Tampa Bay. Oh, Florida, to me. I have a really good girlfriend who she moved from here to Sarasota. Is it Sarasota? I feel like she's always inviting me down to Florida. So like maybe we could have like a big boat party on a yacht in Florida or something. We'll figure out something. You want to hear me rap? Oh my gosh, I want to rap one day. I got to work on my flow though, because I was a poet growing up, right? And there's a weird thing too, like you know all the girl groups back in the day, like TLC, and there was another one, 3LW. Crazy-ish happens to the female rap vocalist. I don't know if it's because you're rapping and you have, because rap is poetry, right? That's real rap is actually poetry. And when I was in New York, I remember going to this really cool club. So New York is actually for artists. The most expensive meal I ever ate in New York was just at TGI Fridays before we went to go see Tarzan on Broadway. That was the most expensive meal. Everything else, we went to like cool little places like around New York, and it was not expensive at all. We went to this place that was like this underground like art club thing, and like it was like open mic whatever, and people went up and did like slam poetry. Other people like just sang. I'm like, freaking, why don't we have stuff like that in Toronto? And I feel like we did, but everything just became so like waiting in line at the door. I hate waiting in line. Thank you, Canadian Pole Talk. Is there anything I can't do? Is a hub for sure? Yes. And so actually I was trying to find some songs that featured New York. So I fell in love with New York. I had a man fall in love with me there. I remember. Adam, I'm sorry. Couldn't I was, yeah, you know, as I was saying, I've grown up a lot, and I mean, like, I've been married now for like 10 years, and I love my husband. He's the love of all my lifetimes. But for me to get to a point to be worthy of being a proper wife, I had to go through this whole thing of like growing up, I suppose, right? But New York itself, I haven't been in a little while. I think a lot of that disappeared in time. Yeah, like it. See here. I also loved musical theater, right? So Broadway in New York was a big deal for me as well. And like watching live action theater, I got to see Tarzan live. And I will always remember this beautiful scene where they had a beautiful dancer like on wires above the whole audience, like coming down. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Let's see here. New York, Alicia Keys. I don't really like Jay-Z, so like Empire State of Mind. Oh, hi. Oh, thanks guys, appreciate that. Thanks for popping up into. Also, my agency, Distraught, I really do have to credit them for helping me getting live, you know? Like, otherwise, I would have just been like, I don't know, like, why do this? But, you know, it makes sense, right? And, like, you know, finding purpose, telling stories. I've realized, like, coming all the way back around, getting lost in the corporate world is just to come back to, like, what you're supposed to be doing in the first place, right? And speaking of which, true. And the streets are mean. I can't sing like Alicia though. I could make it here, I could make it anywhere. That's what they say. Oh, I'm gonna let it come to the, New York City dance memories. Dreams of make you feel brand new. And hear it for New York, New York, New York. I love that. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Jay-Z for various reasons. I really do miss when I used to love hip-hop. Like, I used to break dance and stuff. You know, like dance battles. There's like a dance girl. I'm like, oh yeah, it's my time, baby. My sister's like, as long as you don't open your mouth, then you're good. But it's just that, right? The city itself, the city that never sleeps, the lights, the dreams, and if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And so I brought those same kind of like big city dreams to Toronto. And so when I first moved here and wanted to tell stories about the city, I found that I couldn't, because I wasn't from here, right? I came from like the prairies, and so it's like I don't really know this city very well. And so I've found, it's 2025 now, and so I've been in this city for a long time. I've been married to my hubby, who actually grew up in this city, did like acting gigs in the city and stuff like that, seen the city change. I grew up watching much music, dreaming about being in the exact same place that I'm in right now, right? So it's been a trip for me to come back around and be like, okay, so if time is always happening, am I now I've had to do a lot lately with interfacing with my younger self. And, because sometimes in your head, things seem so clear. And then like I write it down. I'm like, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. So it's been a lot of me like looking back at old stories, looking back at old beliefs that I thought I had. And because I had a lot of trauma in my childhood, I put a lot of memories in boxes and I put them like behind something. And, for any of you that have gone through trauma, for any of you that have gone through heartbreak, I mean, I was reading the Last Ronin. Actually, it's a good segue into reading a piece of this. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a synopsis without hopefully ruining anything. But in the Last Ronin, Michelangelo is the final turtle standing. There's traumatic things that happen, and I myself have lost childhood friends to the other side. And so in this story, Michelangelo talks to his brothers who have already passed, right? He talks to their ghosts. And so April will bring up, and she's like, oh, who are you talking to? And he's like, no one. But you'll have Ralph, Raph basically being how Raph is, just go in there, guns blazing, Leo being the leader, giving leader, big brother advice, to Mikey. And then you got Donatello being super analytical. So he still has these angels on his shoulder guiding him as he's working on this last mission as the last Ronin, the last of his kind, to bring honor to his family. Let me see. I have a reading of some of this on my YouTube channel if you want to get it. But in this story, we have April O'Neil and Casey Jones have a girl. They have a child, and her name's Casey Marie. And the events of this story, Michelangelo basically becomes her sensei. They go on a big mission to avenge their father, Splinter, and the rest of his brothers' death, right? And in doing so, Michelangelo, like, you know when it's a suicide mission and you do it anyways. And April knows this as well. And so in this, he passes, right? He dies a warrior's death, one that, you know, it's what any warrior, like a good death, one where, you know, the Valkyries come for you and you go into a beautiful place. So here on this end, I cried when I was reading this ahead of time, so maybe I can. So yeah, there's a final fight between Mikey and their arch enemy, who's like basically the reason why Splinter trained them, right? Like a blood feud. But I'm here, Sensei. It's me. Casey. No, you're not leaving me. You can't. I brought the journal. Do you see? You were going to teach me, and you promised. It's not fair. I'm sorry, Casey. It was my duty. My destiny for my family. But I'm your family now. Yes, your mom. Always. My father's journal, I left it for you. Cough. It will teach you all that you need to know, all he knew. But the last lesson is most important, the most important of all. And you can see it here. It's to know peace. Know peace. To experience peace. Casey. Oh my God, Casey. It's April. Like, where are you? What are you doing? Of course. But you know what? I always tell this about, I tell my hubby Kevin about this. Like, when we have a child, oh my gosh, because any of you have smart kids, like, holy crap, you have to be, they're just going to go off doing whatever they want, right? Oh my God, Casey, are you okay? Oh, Mikey. Goodbye, my sweet friend. And Mikey leaves this dimension, and I love this part, and he wakes up. That's how I picture what the transitioning over that bridge looks like. There's nothing to be afraid of, but we do have stories to live out here first, even though it hurts the rest of us who are left behind, because we miss them, and goodbyes are always hard. I heard this will adapt into a video game. Oh, if it was like a dark video, I could see that being like a first-person, dark, gritty samurai. I would play it. I get really into video games if you ever watch me, so the scary ones I need support for emotionally. Okay. Mikey, wake up already. Jeez. Are you gonna sleep all day or what? Longest nap ever, bro. Hurry up. It finally stopped raining. What? Yeah, we're heading topside for some fresh air. And training, says Leo. Come on, we're already behind schedule. Yeah, sleepyhead. Get your lazy butt up and moving. Last one out gets to do the dishes for 1 week. Wait. Mikey's just like, whoa, like, what? Looks like we have our winner. Don't you mean loser, Leo? Hey, no fair. I wasn't ready. You guys totally cheated. Loser says what? I'll show you I'm not a loser. Only a loser says that. He's right. Look it up. You're all losers. You would know, Dawn. Whew. So much for fresh air. Smells like Mike cut the cheese. I did not. You gotta side with Mikey on this one, Raph. You know what they say. And then you have Casey Jones appearing. He's like, he who smelt it, dealt it. And Mikey says, Casey. Well, I cannot speak to Raphael's flatulence, Father. But New York City indeed does have its own unique odor. Yeah, it does. It smells like home. Oh, I love that. Oh, I gotta verify myself. There we go. Oh, and I got all like the full body chills. So like this was, because this story was really hard to read, right? Like this, Mikey had to go through hell basically. Like he had to do all of it on his own, and he was supposed to be the lighthearted one of the group. And pizza, yeah. Hopefully New York City smells mostly like pizza. I would prefer that rather than like, you know, what downtown Toronto sometimes smells like, which is like, you know, sounds and smells of the city, right? I'm just getting like a whiff of it every once in a while. But yeah, it's just like, and even the coloring on it at the end, it's just, you know, to anyone who's had to say goodbye to friends, right? It's just to know that, like, literally, it's like you're just gonna wake up like out of a dream, and your friend's like, "Oh my gosh, how was it? How was life? How was life on Earth?" But that's what I mean. If sometimes it does get hard here, right? But remember, like, it's just like hard parts of a video game. You got this, right? Like, you do got this. You've trained many lifetimes for this, and if it wasn't challenging, it would be effing boring too, right? So, hold on. There's a whole. This is a really nice ending to it, because there's hope, right? Epilogue. Hiya, womp. Not too shabby, Casey. So she's referring to the book. This is also a reference to how important I think storytelling, writing things down, even for like martial arts, right? The art of, you know, because I want to say like the art of martial. That's not the right way of me like talking about it, but it's more about your movements and being able to harness your energy so that your whole body is a whole weapon, right? Regardless of, you know, like what you're using, like weapons wise, like katana or anything like that. Although your choice of weapon and all of that kind of stuff matters as well. So here we go. I wish you were here still to see how far I have come. But I'll keep training. I'll keep learning. And I'll keep getting better, Sensei. I won't let you down. Hey, Mom. How are the tests looking? Slight improvement, actually. Lots more to get done, though. What's new? And so what are we eating today? Get what you want, kiddo. I'm not hungry. Oh, I wasn't talking to you. Hey there. Hurry up and grow already. I've got so much cool stuff to teach you. And you can see there that she's growing the next generation of Ninja Turtles. And so perhaps we do have little baby Ninja Turtles growing in our sewers. We just need, they just need to be found, right? Because like you wouldn't have known they were there. Like April knew how to keep a secret. So only people who know. So I love how this ended on that, because as I said, this is like a hard read. Like what happens to April, they lose Casey, but in the end, Mikey goes home. Mikey gets to go home. And I think it offers us also some comfort to anyone who's ever had to say goodbye to someone who has traversed the realm to the other side, whether it's over the Rainbow Bridge, like a beloved companion, furry companion that, you know, isn't human, or, you know, a loved one, a family member. It's just to know that they are always with us. And when it is time for us to take that walk, to take that next step into the next, right? That it's going to be such an awesome trip, right? And then you're going to wish that you relished it more, that we spent more time more. So that's my like more lighthearted way of looking at, you know, The Last Ronin, because to be fair, in the world today, we are living through some tough times, right? Like here in Ontario, I know there's a lot of stuff with like the fords and digging, and there's a lot of like stuff against nature. Oh, King Poppy, hey, been a minute. We're gonna be coming out to Western Canada. I'm hopefully going to be working on having like a truck that is fully outfitted so that you can actually have like a stage on it. So it's like a mobile stage, and we can do kind of like filming on the fly and have like live theater shows and like just create as we go. Like your life is a work of art, and I just want to help it just be more accessible to a human family. Like I love stories. I love your stories. There are so many stories out there that have yet to be told and be like brought to light. And you know, like we're forced every day to watch the news and like all this crap about like Elon Musk, and I don't really care about Trump and Elon Musk and all these vapid, awful people who are like not important to my daily life. And people could say like, oh, well, like you read comic books. I'm like, yeah, but like I better that than the news. I think mine has a lot more truth in it for the most case, right? Hey Mike, how's it going? So, oh hey Rebel Rider. So we'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna do a DJ dance live set. I'm gonna be doing a retelling of the Greek myth of Eros and Psyche, and I'm gonna be doing actually a telling of Cassandra as well. So, I'd rather listen to you than the news. Well, I am telling you guys the cosmic news, right? Because it's about. Okay, this is how I'm going to end it. I'm going to end it on like a slightly like conspiracy tone. Oh, also, I have an event happening in person and on here as well. So I'm glad I caught you tonight. Aw, Timmy, yeah, it was like you were meant to hear some of those messages. Because as I said, like I didn't even know that you were like an artist as well. And oh, you guys. I can't tell you like how much as a little kid I was so connected to the spirit world, and I'm only recently just been tapping back into that. And you know, like when people talk about telling the future, it's like not what people think it is. And it's because the future is not set. That's the thing, right? Multiple possibilities are always happening at once. It's like this is why I like video games a lot, because video games and D&D and like playing the story as a game, there's a lot with that and modeling reality itself, right? And so like we can laugh about things like the Ninja Turtles and all that kind of stuff, but like there's a big truth in there, right? With, you know, the four guardians of the universe, right? I first discovered doing all this I first discovered Zatanna actually reading about the Ninja Turtles, right? Because Zatanna is supposed to be Leonardo da Vinci's great-great-great-great-granddaughter. And of course, the Ninja Turtles are named after Renaissance painters. Not just painters, Renaissance artists. And this was back in a time when people did, like Leonardo da Vinci, his sketchbooks, his notebooks, he's also left-handed, by the way, and my husband is left-handed. Shout out to all you left-handed people out there. I was doing a big deep dive on left-handedness because growing up as a kid, I was obsessed with having red hair. I did not have red hair. No reason to want red hair, but I really wanted red hair, and then I really wanted blonde hair because I feel like I needed that hair in order to play that role. I don't know. It was a weird thing when I was a kid. Anyways, my first color that I dyed my hair was red. It's all to say that back in ancient times, you know, pagan times. Things like having red hair and things like being left-handed would mean that you were like witchy, right? And like magical. And so like, we need to burn you at the stake because you're blah. Oh, thank you. So like, you know, my father-in-law, he talks about how he was like born left-handed, but the church made him like use his right hand. So you guys let me know if that's a truth for you guys, like this idea of like being ambidextrous is a thing too, right? Like my dog Wolfie is also left-handed, by the way. So bringing this back around, like my best friend growing up, Laura, shout out Laura, love you babe. We've reconnected recently. She was a left-handed Libra. My husband is a left-handed Libra. How weird is that? My kid is left-handed and blonde and blue eyes. Oh, crazy. I love, so left-handed people. I went down this whole thing because one of my friends, Joanne, who's been on the show before, she's also left-handed. And she was talking about like, and I was like, you know what? You have to change so much just to be left-handed. Like the fridge isn't left-handed. You're opening everything you're doing. You're accommodating in your brain for right-handed people, even though I think left-handed people make up 10% of the population. And did you know, yeah, Leonardo da Vinci was left-handed, was what I was trying to say. And then I was just talking about like these indicators of like, let's say more magical talent, more creative talent, because you're supposed to be using a different part of the brain, right? Or you're more readily able to access certain parts of your brain, or it's just the way that you process information, right? It's known that people who are left-handed are better with cars and directions, apparently, and artists. I think just natural artists. My friend Laura was an amazing artist growing up, and I find that interesting too because it's just a commonality. I've noticed it too when I do drawing tutorials. Like there's a lot of like left-handed illustrators. Put it there. Very cool. The first environmentalist. So, bringing this. What was I trying to say about this? Oh yes, the more conspiracy side of it. So, ciphers and coding things. I was telling my hubby this. Like any great type of information, right? Any kind of like special secret to know is not going to just be on mainstream media news, right? Like it's like one of those things, like the argument of like, well, if we knew how to fly, then we would all know how to do that. I'm like, that's no. They wouldn't let you have that info. They're only going to give you what like the powers that are going to allow out, right? So what our people have done since the beginning of time was use code, right? There's this idea of, even in like Greek myth and story, fairy tales, fables, where like you're saying a story with a particular meaning, but there's like this other meaning underneath it. Or rather, there's a story within that story that's like a poem, and that poem is supposed to be something that you use for something else. My aunt is left-handed and she died. She's my grandma. It is genetic to the left-handedness. There's more to it though, right? Like I would interface that with also your astrological sign as well, including things like in dance, for example, I'm left-legged, meaning that I prefer to launch off my left leg. My right leg's more flexible. So there's all these different things in your own bodies where you favor a side, or like Derek Zoolander, like I can only turn left, or yeah, or I can't turn left. And I even noticed that with dance too. Like you like learn certain routines, and then like let's say the formation and dance team, like, okay, now we have, like, you learned the routine all this way with your right, now you have to reverse it. It's a mind F, because you're like, but I learned it the other way, and now I have to reverse it. So all of these things too, I think, I was talking to my granny about how, like, I think it would be great if, like, more older people played video games, because it's just a way of, like, the muscle of your brain being able to cognitively go through puzzles and work through things like patterns. I don't think people realize that art is math. It's just not done in, like, formula, like the way that like logic brain, right? So when you're drawing a human face, for example, like I know this from sketching. I'm going to show you some sketches, actually. I've been doing some of my own sketching. So I draw places, like, from my imagination. So this is supposed to be like Olympus, like a floating. This is going to be where the RPG game takes place. I've been turning it into a digitized version. So this is my quantum library, because I love libraries, right? So where, like, each of our stories exists as, like, a beautiful scroll that, like, all the beings from all over the cosmos get to read. Well, that's my life. This is just a sketch. It's my dragon. Colored him in and everything. And then more Flower of Life stuff. Doing this stuff, like actually drawing sacred geometry, I've found helps me go into a meditative state. Gets me ready for other drawing. And then I drew a Spartan. Huh? What's that? He looks pretty cool, actually. And then, what else? Mr. Nugs, right? I don't know if you guys remember those books, Mr. Muggs, that were supposed to, like, teach you, like, reading and stuff, you know? I mean, anything that helps you, like, to me, it's not about the reading, it's about, like, the story, right? So however you can get that story is up to you. Oh, thank you, Random. Appreciate that. And so this is my latest sketch. It's the Hanging Gardens, right? I know, like, Babylon had hanging gardens, but I updated it myself. So you can see there's Pegasuses, and it's, like, done in 1 point perspective, and I haven't colored it in yet. So I've been doing that just because, you know, there's a lot of, like, AI tools out there. There's a lot of stuff, and, like, I have used them, of course, just to help mock things out, but at the same time, there's something to be said of being able to visualize it. Like, take what's in your imagination and use my hands to make it a thing. I would love, Timmy, that'd be great. Maybe we can collab on something. And you know what, if you're interested in being an artist for the Dragon Warriors, please do let me know. I'm trying to work on crowdfunding it so I can actually, like, pay you guys and stuff. Like, I'm all for figuring out a way for artists to just, like, live doing art, you know, because I feel like when I was a project manager, I worked a lot with a lot of really, really talented people who worked their corporate job just because, like, you can't live in downtown Toronto being an artist unless you want to be some bum on the street. Being like, old lamps for new, please give me some funding. What is my weird talent? I have a few, actually. I have a few weird talents. I've been working on singing a bit more, so I will do that. I'm gonna do some slam poetry rap stuff, so stay tuned for that. But I also do think of myself as, like, a comedian. But not, I have to be in the right persona, and it has to be about the right thing. So I've been putting together some scripts of skits between some of my characters. Like, I have one with Supergirl and Nightwing where they recount the one date that they went on, and that's actually comic book canon. I also have one with April O'Neil and Batgirl talking, because in one of my comic books, there's a connection between those two universes where Gotham City, a portal opens, and I think in many major cities, tons of portals everywhere. Like, oh, thanks, Barney the Vat. I really do have to credit my husband for helping me be me. that's basically it. And you know what? I think that's where I will leave this live for tonight, guys. Tomorrow we'll be back, DJ Dance live stream. And I'm also going to be live earlier in the day, and we'll be doing some like just specifically Astro stuff, and I'll be doing an oracle reading for you guys, as well as I can let you guys in on how you can join my course. I have a 7-day course that's launching on Saturday. It's going to run every other week. So I produce a show for Decriminalized Nature called Restoring Our Roots. And we do a show. We're doing a show this Sunday with me and my hubby, where we're going to talk about shamanism, mysticism, how magic mushrooms help me find myself again, like find my inner child lost in some like dark corner of the cosmos and get her back. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys my personal story. So, before I leave this, April O'Neil was a big reason why I moved out to the big city, my big city dreams, New York City, all that kind of stuff. But in Winnipeg, growing up, I loved horses. I loved the stories of like Black Beauty and the Black Stallion and all that kind of stuff. And I like imagine like just, because riding a horse, right? It's that representation of freedom, absolute freedom to just, yeah. And then also the trust that a horse needs to have for its rider and being worthy of getting that trust from the horse. So that all like really, really vibed with me as a kid. So, but you know what? As I told you, I didn't think I deserved certain dreams like that. And like, I was in a city, like even Winnipeg being a small city, wasn't like I could own a horse. So very recently, I think about like a week ago, I went to this place called Horse Discovery out in Peterborough, Ontario. Shout out to Sherry. I'm going to do a live reading of Black Beauty there, but it's this place. They're going to be they do horse meditation. So there's horses at this farm. A lot of them are rescues. And we did this meditation, a chakra meditation with the horses, and certain horses choose to be part of it and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know how I found this place, and everyone I met there was just like so loving, so warm, and just I'm crying because I'm thinking about it. I met some new friends, and so a lot of really nice women, like there's too many groups here in Toronto where it's like, oh, women's only and women's healing. I'm like, this isn't like just a female or male, like this is just like a human being thing, and like our connection to the earth. And one of the horses that connected with me, her name was Saloon. She's like the matriarch of the herd there, white horse. I'm like, are you really a unicorn? But as she like came up and like almost like gave me her blessing, almost saying like, because when I was a little girl, I always wanted to talk to animals. That was like the big power that She-Ra had, that I was like, oh, if I had a superpower, I want to talk to animals. And like what she told me was like, Rachel, you've always been able to talk to animals. You just forgot how to hear us. And I was like, yeah, about that. So, I hear the birds all the time. There's a red-breasted robin that me and Wolfie see every morning when I take him out for a walk in our new area. So I've just learned to just be like, oh, wow, like, I do hear you. It's not like what I thought it would be. It's not like a voice in my head, like being like, hey, it's this, but it's much more subtle. So, grounding, yes. Yeah, Timmy, I feel like you would vibe with something like this. It was a lot of women, but there were a few men there as well. I think it's just because, I don't know, like, I feel like women, or me specifically, I really vibed with horses because I understand what it's like to have cruelty done onto you, right? Or to have people think that you're so beautiful, but you're not really taken care of. You're just a prop, and horses are like that. They're beautiful, right? But they do need to be exercised, to be taken care of. You need to clean the stables. You need to do all the things to take care, right? And I relate to that, right? And so I think, like, my big dream is to have a ranch out in the prairies. I'm going to call it a sanctuary, and it's going to be hidden like a bat cave, and it'll just be a training ground for like superheroes. And I've come all this way around, going to the big city, social media manager, corporate marketing, to realize, like, oh, okay, now I know what things need to stay secret, what things need to stay behind a veil still, right? That, when you take psychedelics, or if you've had any kind of experience where you've, like, the dark night of the soul, like this you can come to that awakening in many different ways, but you realize too that, like, I guess you shatter your ego, but there's this concept of having a healthy ego, right? Like, you can't just be the whole universe all the time. Right? Hey Tojo, how's it going? My big metaphor is this, right? Like, as I'm writing out my story, and I have characters in my story, and I'm a character in my story, when I'm actually acting it out, I have to pretend like I don't know what's going to happen next, right? Even though I wrote the script for it to work, right? This suspension of disbelief, so that we can actually have a story that we're playing out. So I'm going to pretend I'm not an infinite divine being for this moment, so that we can play a game and we can experience what it's like to be a human being, right? And I can feel what it's like to love someone with my whole heart, what it's like to sacrifice certain things in order to have a higher purpose, all of that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, Timmy. Oh my goodness. I will shout out to my friend Sasha. She does a lot of Venus, I don't know how to want to say it. She tracks Venus a lot. She's a fellow astrologer, but there's so much to learn with this kind of stuff. And so that's why I tell you guys, like, really follow your resonance, right? Why you have a favorite character, why you have like a favorite thing, right? Like, why, like, I love animals a lot, right? I love, for a long time, like, just love them more than people, right? Because, like, animals don't lie to you. They don't misrepresent themselves. They and don't ask for very much, so. And there's also a level of, like, learning how to be gentle, right? And learning how to take time, to have patience, to take a breath, take a moment, right? So you're totally right, Timmy. Like, that's why I like tattoos. There's all that kind of stuff about, like, going through pain, being able to withstand it, to bear it, right? Is a thing. And I'm still standing. Na 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 na. See here, Moon Knight and Daredevil, my connection. Ooh, I like Daredevil. That's a good one too, right? Like, Moon Knight, I have a comic book actually by Moon Knight I'm going to be reading on Thursday as Mayari, as my D&D character. She's a moon elf from the Forgotten Realms world, as a way of talking about different moon mythologies, because I love moon stuff. Tojo, the fact that you gravitate to that stuff is also, like, there are those of you who know how to dance with the darkness, right? And April, like, Michelangelo, bringing this back around to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this idea of, like, humor and dark humor, and, like, what we're able to do to cope with, like, the craziness that we're in, right? Like, it's like comedic timing and knowing when not to laugh and when you finally deserve to, or just, like, sometimes just laughing at the whole ridiculousness of the situation, and it just breaks the tension, right? Oh, like, yeah, just laughing at the ridiculousness of the situation, so it just eases the pressure a bit, right? But then there's, like, this level of, like, characters like the Joker, where like it's all a joke, it's all a joke, nothing is sacred, nothing is taken seriously. And so that's why something is funny, is the magic of why you can't talk about certain themes in the front, right? Why it has to be talked about in puzzle and in a sort of mysterious kind of way, right? Okay. I went on another tangent. When you can catch me next live, tomorrow, we're actually going to be doing Supergirl's gonna be back. I'm filming a little short between Batgirl and Supergirl, and then Supergirl's going to take over, and we're going to talk about Kryptonian mythology, and we're going to map it to astrology, because they do match. And it's also because Kryptonian mythology has a lot of, what should I call them, commonalities to Egyptian mythology. And I'm going to use it as an opportunity to talk to you guys about Egyptian myth, because I love Egyptian myth, but for whatever reason those stories tend to trigger people, right? But there's some juicy goddesses in there, and I wanted to make sure I had some cosplay in place for them when I told them. So hopefully we'll have some of that very soon. Hey, Don Quixote. Oh, great name, by the way. And I will end this off with the song I'm going to be teaching you guys on the 22nd of June. I have an Eventbrite. It's a free event. I'm going to have an online component to it as well. But if you are in Toronto, you can just come out to Sunnyside Boardwalk. I'm going to be doing a recreation of Step Up's Dance Till the Dawn. You know when they go to the club and then people always go like, how come no one ever just breaks down into a dance? And like all the boys are on one side and all the girls on the other. And then like, you know, like it just, anyways, I'm going to play the song. You guys know what I mean. But I'm going to take some moves from the video plus add my own stuff and like actually make a choreography. And then I'm going to teach it to all you guys. And then we're all going to do it. And then I'm going to put it all together into a music video. Right? So better learn your moves. Even if you only get a few steps, I'll just take that piece. You can use that in the video. Louder. I remember some of the line dance. And you know Filipinos loved line dancing, right? So it first starts. What's the best part? Bring it to the front. And then the boys. Oh, Channing Tatum. Oh my gosh, I need to learn that. So that's gonna be what there's moves in the video, and like everybody knows it, and so it like reminds me of when me and my friends used to go to the clubs. We would like know a dance, and then when the song would come on, the DJ would play it, we're like, oh my gosh, it's our song. And then we would break down into dance. So we're gonna do that, but like everybody's gonna be in on it, hopefully, and I can have a big group of people, and it can be a nice way of like dancing to the dawn, venerating the sun, Sunnyside Beach on the boardwalk, a little bit of a portal hopefully into nostalgia, and then I will be doing that live as well at the same time. So I will have that scheduled. It's already on my Eventbrite if you want to RSVP for that, because then I will actually also have this as a tutorial, like a video tutorial that can, if you miss it, you can always learn the dance. And so more people that know it, the better. And then also I have a series of other, let's say, movement rituals to different songs that are meant for activations of different chakra centers. And so on Saturday, I'll be starting my whole course of like 7-day chakra activation, starting from root to sacral, to your solar plexus, to your heart, to your throat, to your third eye, to your crown. And when you activate all of that, superpower is initiated, baby, whatever that happens to be. And so some journal prompts are in there as well as different ways that that have worked for me in terms of how you can kind of like focus your own powers. Oh, you know what though, Dojo? Like if you're gonna be a superhero, like look at any of the greats, right? Like Supergirl, Batgirl, Diana Black Canary, Jean Grey, all of them are all like very talented. And not just that, you also had to do training. You also had to work on it too, right? Because even if you're talented, you can be the most talented dancer in the world, but you still need to learn the choreography. It's not just like poof, magic. Same thing goes with like modeling or anything else. So stay tuned for some of well, thanks, Timmy. I really do take, like, if this is like my comic book, you guys are all part of it too, right? So it's like before I like figure out how to transform, because there's always a trick to it. Like, I do have to bring up stuff on like the Power Rangers, because the Power Rangers is like a big like love. I love mech suits. I love like tech in that regard. And April O'Neil and Batgirl do have that in common in terms of like being, oh, want to say bye to everybody? Well, we can do that. I'm gonna let you out. So, me and Pupper, he's got his little sock on, because he's got little allergies. I think he's allergic to certain. Oh, little nugs. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me for the live today. Put you down. I'll let you out. You want to go out? Here. No, you smell futons. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this live. It's April O'Neil. We revisited The Last Ronin. I didn't want it to be too sad, but I think it's just something to note that, like, even though you're going through darkness, right, it's always darkest before the dawn. So hold on, right? If you're going through a tough time, trust me, a lot of fun stuff is coming your way. Trust me, like the stars say so. Okay, guys, I hope you're well, and remember, it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in this game of life, right? So remember to be just you. After all, everyone else is taken, and trust me, the universe is counting on you. But no stress, I do have your back. Until next time, my superhero friends, see you. It's April O'Neil, signing off. Bye.